February 10th, 2005. The scene is the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. An agent opens a secure email attachment and his face just goes white. He's staring at something that absolutely should not exist. The FBI's entire target list, containing the real names of undercover informants and active case codes. We're talking about 11 pages of America's most classified cyber operations, stolen right from their own servers. But here's the sickest part of this whole situation. The hacker who pulled off this monumental breach was already on the Bureau's payroll. How did a 20-year-old kid manage to con the world's most powerful law enforcement agency? And why did the FBI agent who caught him end up losing everything? This is a crucial cybercrime documentary about trust, treason, and the dark truth about digital justice. January 19th, 2001. We're at JFK Airport watching 20-year-old Maxim Popoff board a one-way flight to America. He thought he was about to become Silicon Valley's next big success story. He had walked into the U.S. Embassy in London with a stunning offer: Eastern European hacking secrets in exchange for the American dream. For 4 months, the agents had promised him everything: a new identity, a legitimate job, maybe even some seed funding for a startup. But the second Popoff's feet touched U.S. soil, the smiles vanished. The friendly agents snapped on handcuffs. The visa they promised was actually an arrest warrant, and instead of a welcome party, he got an isolation cell. The prosecutor slid a sheet of paper under the bars: cooperate or rot in federal prison for 30 years. The FBI had made a huge mistake. They just taught their prisoner the most valuable lesson in cybercrime. If the good guys lie this well, imagine what the bad guys can do. Popoff played along for 3 months, escorted daily to a safe house to log into Russian hacker forums. But in slang-filled Russian that his FBI minders couldn't understand, Popoff typed a simple message to his old crew: Dismatit, Uncle Sam is watching. He warned every major player in the underground that he had been compromised, and hundreds of warnings were issued without a single FBI agent noticing. When FBI linguists finally translated the chat logs, their star informant had been burning them since day one. They threw him in county jail. As the cell door slammed, Popoff just smiled and delivered 8 prophetic words: "You have no idea what you're dealing with." But 2,400 miles away, in Santa Ana, California, FBI agent EJ Hilbert saw an opportunity where others saw only disaster. Hilbert knew that you can't catch wolves with sheepdogs. You need another wolf. Summer 2002. Hilbert made Popoff an insane offer: help the FBI infiltrate the world's largest cybercrime forum and walk free. The operation was called Ant City, and Popoff would work from a jail cell by day, hunting hackers by night. This forum, called Carter Planet, was essentially the Amazon of identity theft, where 10,000 criminals bought and sold stolen lives like Pokemon cards. Credit cards for $1, social security numbers for $5, entire identities for $30, shipping included. Popoff's mission was simple: rebuild his criminal reputation as the biggest buyer in the game. The FBI gave him a $50,000 budget with a simple mission: shop till they drop. Every purchase was a trap. When criminals sent stolen cards to Popoff's fake address, they committed a federal crime, allowing Hilbert to trace each card back to its original breach. It was a brilliant covert digital operation that prevented millions in fraud and revealed major security holes in banks and hotel chains. Thanksgiving Day, 2002. While everyone else was eating turkey with their families, Popoff was alone in an FBI conference room. Hilbert wheeled in a full Thanksgiving feast and, more importantly, a projector playing The Lord of the Rings. For 3 hours, they didn't talk about crime. They just watched hobbits save the world while eating pumpkin pie. Popoff later said this was the moment everything changed because, for the first time, someone treated him like a human being instead of a simple asset. That night, Popoff made a decision that eventually brought down Carter Planet's founder, known only as Script. Popoff spent 6 weeks building a relationship, pretending to be a Ukrainian middleman with access to corrupt bank employees. Script agreed to a test purchase, and the package arrived at FBI headquarters, wrapped in Ukrainian newspaper. Script had made one fatal mistake. He included a handwritten note, which Hilbert traced to Roman Vega in Odessa. By early 2003, Popoff was the FBI's greatest success story. But then he got a message from Ray, a young Russian hacker who offered to broker 8 million stolen credit card numbers. Ray was suspicious of a small-time buyer suddenly wanting $200,000 worth of stolen financial data. Popoff needed to prove he was legitimate. The FBI set up a scene straight out of a heist movie inside a secure vault in a Bank of America branch in Los Angeles. FBI agents stacked $200,000 in $100 bills while Popoff practiced his lines in Russian for the camera. Popoff grabbed a stack, fanned it like a poker hand, and tossed bundles around like notebooks. The 47-second performance was perfect. Popoff then invented a company called Hermes Plast and casually offered Rhea a job as a security consultant with a $70,000 starting salary. Rhea practically broke his keyboard typing up his resume, including his full name, address, and a passport scan. The kid just applied for a job at his own sting operation. In 2 weeks, Popoff would walk free, and in 2 years, he'd make them pay for everything. April 15, 2003. A federal judge looked at Popoff's file and ruled the time served. Popoff walked out a free man. New Year's Eve, 2004. Hilbert's phone rang. Popoff's voice cut through the celebration. "Check your email. The FBI just got hacked." Someone had root access to every email ending in FBI.gov, compromised through an ancient networking protocol called X25. Popoff conveniently offered to fix the problem for a price, sending files that made Hilbert's blood freeze. The FBI ended up cutting a $10,000 check to Popoff's new company, Psychos. It was the first time in FBI history they'd paid a foreign national who had skipped probation to solve their own security breach. Popoff identified the hacker as Leonid Sokolov and even arranged an introduction. Hilbert got an immediate confession in a hacker chat. Hilbert even wrote Popoff an official letter of commendation on FBI letterhead, which Popoff immediately posted on his company website, making him an FBI-endorsed security consultant. On February 10, 2005, they discovered the truth. Remember the man who saved the FBI? He was about to destroy the agent who saved him. Popoff, using the alias Dennis Penhouse, contacted EMC Corporation about their stolen VMware software, worth $500 million. His offer sounded like charity. "I can help contain your breach." EMC heard extortion, "Pay me, or your code goes public." The Boston office of the FBI thought they had uncovered a protection racket run by an FBI informant, and they were ready for blood. "Give us his real name." The prosecutor's demand hung in the air like a blade. Hilbert had to choose between protecting his source or saving his career. He refused, arguing that exposing Popoff would compromise national security, which was true but incomplete. Hilbert knew Popoff was probably guilty, but he also knew Popoff was the only reason they caught the FBI hackers. You can't convict your star witness of being a criminal. 72 hours later, Hilbert was under investigation for conspiracy, wire fraud, and obstruction of justice. His 5-year-old daughter asked why Daddy seemed sad all the time, and he couldn't tell her the truth, that Daddy trusted the wrong person and might go to jail. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, Popoff collected a $30,000 payment from EMC, literally holding a Fortune 500 company hostage with their own data. Everyone was lying to everyone, and Hilbert was the only one paying the price. The hero of Operation Ant City had become radioactive. After months of watching his career dissolve in slow motion, Hilbert placed his badge and gun on his supervisor's desk. 15 years of service ended by the kid he tried to help. The investigation found no evidence of wrongdoing, and all charges were quietly dropped in 2009. But you can't unfire yourself from the FBI. Hilbert went into private security consulting, successfully helping companies that had been hacked and didn't trust law enforcement. In 2012, after 7 years of silence, Hilbert's phone rang. A Ukrainian number. "Popoff. I wanted to thank you." Popoff's voice was older, quieter. "For the Thanksgiving dinner, for treating me like a person. You were the only friend I had." Then, almost casually, Popoff dropped the bomb. "You know I was the one who hacked the FBI, right?" Hilbert's mind raced through 5 years of missed clues. Popoff confessed that he and Leonid Sokolov did it together. They used the X25 vulnerability to breach AT&T's data center, pulled the FBI files, and then Popoff sold the solution back to the Bureau for $10,000. The FBI paid the hacker who robbed them to catch himself. They gave him a commendation letter for solving his own crime. Popoff orchestrated every beat: the breach, the discovery, the investigation, the solution. It wasn't just a con, it was performance art. "I wanted to believe you'd changed," Hilbert admitted. But Popoff saw an opportunity and took everything he could. Popoff destroyed the only friend he had, yet claimed he still loved him, demonstrating that in his world, love and betrayal are just dance partners. He walked free, never arrested, never extradited, never punished. This cybercrime documentary shows that when you hire a thief to catch thieves, you must remember they're still a thief. In the digital age, the good guys and bad guys use the same keyboard. And sometimes, the hackers are so deep in the system, they're practically running IT support.